There's a time for living. The time keeps on flying. Think you're loving, baby, and all you're doing is crying. Can you feel? Are those feelings real? Look at your game, girl. Look at your game, girl. What a mad delusion. Living in that confusion. Frustration and doubt. Can you ever live without the game? The sad, sad game. Mad game. Just to say your love's not enough. If on you can't be true, you can tell those lies, baby, but you're only fooling you. Can you feel? Are those feelings real? Look at your game, girl. Oh, look at your game, girl.
The Trump administration, I think, just said that they're because people aren't drinking because everyone's like so gay these days.
People aren't losing
like, the
it.
new generation's
isn't it
not drinking a lot.
expensive?
It is expensive, but like, you know, come on, what else is there to spend money on? But they like
wine, women, and song.
They're releasing it. I think Zoomers like just don't drink because they just
Well, aren't they all neurodivergent?
they just stream and shoot up schools and stuff.
I don't know. I don't know any Zoomers. I don't think
Me
right
neither.
now.
Yeah, Riley.
No, Riley's a.
No.
Is he a Zoomer? Is he an old,
No,
early
I don't
a
know.
late millennial?
Yeah, I think they're like 18 right now or 20. Maybe.
Because
I don't know.
millennial 2 starts around 87, doesn't it?
Yeah, millennial could be older
Yeah.
than yeah.
Yeah. Older
But
than me.
I think the Trump administration or the health, MAHA,
Oh, Maha, yeah.
RFK, I
Yeah.
think they released the thing where it's like saying like acting like drink is really not that bad for you.
Oh, isn't that funny? The,
Like some
the alcohol
propaganda,
lobby.
like the alcohol
lobby,
lobby
like,
got
you
to
better
that.
get on those kids and
Yeah.
pour some whiskey down their gullet.
Because it was like, they were saying the binge drinking is like 2 drinks a week or some insane shit. Where you're like,
God,
okay,
I guess I was an
well, I
alcoholic
guess
my whole life.
we'll all just kill ourselves then.
That binge drinking is when you drink a whole lot in one
They were
night.
saying that
Isn't it? Or it's when you
yeah,
just
binge
get,
drinking is like a
you just
ton
drink
over
all day
a
and-
small amount of time. It's a ton
Right.
of drinking over a small amount of time. But like, no, the initial health, whatever.
I know, I can't think
What are
of
they
words
called?
lately
The people
either.
that pretend to know about health. The government. The
Time wasters?
rules were like that. Like a man should have like 4 drinks a week is like almost considered too much.
recommendations.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
recommended dose.
Well, they're wrong about everything. Every 30 years they have to go, oops, remember what we said about trans fat? Well, we meant the
They
opposite.
changed the pyramid. The pyramid's actually changed.
upside
and
down,
it seems
isn't
it's
it?
upside down, and like they made it upside down. That's
Go from
really
one
it.
extreme to the next. It's hilarious.
But it does look like it's normal. It's like a normal.
I didn't see it. It's bread's on the bottom,
Bread's yeah, but it's like good bread. Like sourdough is okay, I guess.
right? Okay. I got some good bread to go with pot roast.
Yeah, but I've been watching
Homemade
Mad Men.
bread.
I've been rewatching Mad Men.
Such a great show.
Yeah, but it's actually cartoonish. How
It is, but
every
the
waking
times were
second
kinda
they're drinking.
cartoonish.
Did everyone drink every waking second?
No,
How did people have
those
whiskey?
people did,
How do you have
though.
whiskey? How do you have a ton of whiskey at
Listen,
like noon?
those guys
while
were
at work?
post-wars. That's why they called them Mad Men. It wasn't just because they were on Madison Avenue. That was part of why they got the name. They were all.
Oh, I'm an idiot. I thought it was called Mad Men because like ad
Well,
men.
it's a play on all the words, but it's also Madison Avenue's advertising.
Okay.
And they're also all nuts. It was like the beginning. I mean, advertising's been around since the turn of the century, but like it got started up really big in the 20s, and then by the time you got to the 50s,
Yeah.
became just like industrial.
It's one of those things where it's
complex.
only kind of romantic. Like being an ad man is only kind of romantic and not like a vile thing to be because of the time period.
I always thought it was
because
vile.
they created like Coca-Cola. Like there's something about it where it's actually like nowadays Mad Men would be. I'm like, fuck off.
It's
with,
total manipulation.
Where they would nowadays, Don Draper would be like,
Yeah.
we exploit the
Don
protests
Draper
in
would be-
Minneapolis, and
Yeah.
and the ICE agent hands the lesbian a Coke and says, put a smile on. And,
oh God, how would any of that work now? All that shit's gone out the window.
But there's something charming about the ads that they're doing in the show, because it's like the time period. You're like, wow, even though they're doing it for cigarettes or horrible things, like
because it seemed innocent.
It seemed innocent and almost like an actual skill.
Didn't really know that that putting tobacco with poison. Well, people weren't told it was. People were allowed to believe it was just tobacco.
How long did you smoked for a long time? Didn't you?
I smoked for about I started when I was about 18. But I didn't.
Didn't your grandma and grandpa smoke forever?
Oh yeah, everybody in my family smoked.
Were they still smoking when you started?
Of course. And so.
Did they even act like it was bad? Did they even care that they saw you smoking?
I wasn't supposed to smoke. We weren't supposed to smoke, but it was okay for them. Sue never took it up. Sue was a goody two shoes, and Mike could barely breathe from the time he was
asthma,
born. So it would have been really stupid and suicidal for him to try.
Right.
I started smoking cigarettes because I started smoking pot when I was like 15. Mm-hmm. But back then, pot was fun. It was just
it didn't make you schizophrenic.
It was giggly. Yeah, I didn't have to go to the hospital, and get a lobotomy. Mm-hmm. I won't touch that now, but it was giggly and the world was slightly altered in a goofy way. You didn't really seriously want to kill yourself.
Right, it was more chill, I imagine.
Completely chill, no anxiety.
Yeah.
But I by the time I was 19, I lost my interest in that too. I didn't really care. And when I was traveling around Europe, it's all hash, it's not grass anyway. And I didn't like it. I don't like being zombified at all. Mm-hmm. But the smoking of the pot, cigarettes were really fun, after that. Yeah. And of course you don't start like immediately inhaling. It's horrible, actually.
Yeah, you have to. I think somebody said you have to try really hard to get addicted to cigarettes because it sucks.
Well, because the initial days of it makes you immediately want to take a shit, which is why a lot of people smoke, because the women liked it. It kept your weight down, takes your appetite away. My mom started the day. Our house always smelled like a combination of freshly brewing coffee, cigarettes, and shit.
Well, they're also just like little friends you have. Like if you're at an event and you hate the people around, you're like, you have an excuse. You have to go outside and have a little meditative. It's very contemplative.
You stand around thinking deep thoughts. It's fun when you're hitchhiking and waiting for a ride.
And it's great for the liminal spaces throughout the day. It
is. Now people pick up their phones.
You come over to a place and the person that you're visiting is like, oh, hold on, let me go. They take a call and you go, you pull out a cigarette.
Exactly. People had cigarettes on their table, would offer you a cigarette. It was like an activity,
It's really horrible that they're bad for us. I wish we should be smoking right now.
Well, there used to be people that smoked native spirit. I don't know if those people still do that.
I knew an idiot in high school.
It's also very expensive.
I knew an idiot in high school that smoked American spirits, and it's it says additive free.
Yeah.
He thought it said addictive free.
What?
Yeah. He was like, I remember being like, you're gonna get addicted to those. He was like, they're addictive free.
Are you joking?
No.
That's incredible.
Oh, I mean, come on. You knew some of the people, the Mongoloids at that school. Addictive free cigarettes.
Somehow managed to miss that letter.
Yeah. He's like, Native Americans have it all figured out. They have addictive free cigarettes.
Why are those words so close? Additive and addictive.
Additive and addictive? I don't know.
Yeah. I remember a lot of the more hippier people would always smoke those and somehow believe that.
Yeah. They're heavier. When I've smoked them like drunk or whatever, they're like pretty intense.
Well, you don't ever inhale, probably, do you?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking take it into your lungs.
Yeah, the head rush was what it's all about.
I tried doing it. I gave it up. It was not hard for me to give it up at all. I smoked until I was about 29, and so many people still smoked then. And you go out for drinks or something.
Yeah.
If you were with a friend that smoked, you could easily go through almost a pack. Mm-hmm. You sit there chain smoking, talking,
especially if you're drinking. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like it was fun until it wasn't fun anymore. My girlfriend Janet, who died young, probably a lot of that was her lifestyle. She was quite alcoholic and cigarette-y, more than me. And we got a new name for it. My name's Baz, her name was Smith. We called it smazzing because we'd get together. Let's smazz tonight. Mm-hmm. And, just like drink too much. And always white wine, too, like shitty white wine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ooh, horrible to think. Her mom was a big alcoholic. She just drank jugs of Almaden and But she was a cool alcoholic. She wasn't like a broke down trailer park type
Was
of
it like were all
alcoholic.
the moms in your generation, were they all doing like Mother's Little Helper shit, like Dexedrine,
Maybe.
like
I don't remember
diet
that.
pills and stuff?
I don't think
did
I was
Grandma do that?
No.
Yeah.
I wish she had.
Grandma should have been on a lot of stuff. Like you guys should have like.
I used to
laced
envy.
her
I so envied latchkey
breakfast.
kids. I would go, God, you're so lucky. You go home and nobody's
Yeah.
there. How fantastic.
Yeah.
And they would all try to convince me how terrible it was. But I was like, well, I don't want to make it sound like my mom was a monster or anything.
No, but she was
a presence.
Yeah.
Oppressively present. Like watching me all the time. And why are you looking like that? What do you sit across the table from me at dinner and go?
She had that.
What do you look like?
She was
do you have a guilty conscience?
She was a good-hearted person. She was like she had
She
that
was sweet but lost.
She had that reptilian Livia Soprano nature.
Yeah, she has some narcissistic shit going on.
Like almost like get under your skin. Like
yes, she would shapeshift.
Like Machiavellian. Like
something would switch off in her brain or on or off. I don't know. And then she would kind of. Like something would just trigger her and it'd come out of total left field.
Yeah.
And you'd be, what is going on here? And when I think about it too, when I think about these things that I have issues with, these dumb problems that I'm this old woman now and I'm still going through the same shit. Like I have to literally work myself up to making a phone call.
Yeah.
Like because I just and I more and more I
right.
just
You
go,
don't have that I don't give a fuck thing, and you're.
I haven't got there yet. Yeah,
how are you
I
still
don't
not there?
know why. I'm not like
You do think the government's always about to come
everybody.
and just
I'm
arrest
always
you.
ready to be put in jail.
Yeah.
In fact, Patty, who did spend time in jail, as you know.
You act like a Venezuelan drug lord.
I know. I literally think maybe I did something horrible in a previous life that's haunting me, because I have this ridiculous, completely irrational fear that I'm going to make a mistake, just a mistake.
Yeah.
So and it's going to be it'll be catastrophic. Yeah, and it'll all lead back to me.
You've accrued interest of $7 million because you messed up a payment on a parking ticket.
Every once, yeah, exactly. Or it's always one of these things that'll slip through the cracks. These horrible stories that you hear. Like there was an Al Pacino movie.
If you type
like
in
that.
any question onto Reddit. Like a little, hey, does anyone know what this thing is? I got in the mail.
And people always try to scare you,
there's just a million responses like, yeah, man.
You better
my
take
buddy
care
got
of
hit with it. They took his children. They took his wife.
I know. The internet's a terrible place to go to try to salve your brain.
Well, because misery does love company, too.
It's
so
true.
If one person had a horrible experience, it's like that for everybody.
Well, people like to, I learned that, I did learn that a long time ago, to shut my mouth, stop sharing certain things with people I didn't really know well, because I started to realize, like one time I had this issue with health insurance years ago, and I wasn't sure. I started working at 20th Century Fox, and so I got on their insurance plan, and it had something to do with pregnancy or female stuff that could have been seen as a pre-existing condition. And so I was a little worried about it. And I asked my friend's sister who worked in insurance. And of course, just because you push a pencil around in some company doesn't mean you know all the ins and outs of insurance. And she totally, I could see, she was almost gleefully telling me, oh no, they'll never pay for that because that's clearly a pre-existing. And I remember after, and of course it wasn't, it was fine. And I just thought, I'm not talking to these low-level
dweebs anymore. You really can't trust
anymore.
It's so annoying.
You could see them enjoying their power.
Everyone's got a different answer. You have no clue whether they're coming from a good faith place or they're affected by some sort of like power trip or a know-it-all thing.
I've always been glad that you didn't get that from me. Because I feel like you handle that pretty well. Like you have maybe
anxiety?
No, that you have a pretty good I don't give a fuck kind of thing. And it's not that you don't give a fuck, but you have a strong sense about yourself where you don't immediately. I mean, I'm sure like anybody, you can't live on the earth and not have anxiety or wonder if you're doing something right or wrong or whatnot, because there's so many rules each year that you don't know.
No, I mean, I did. I had those panic attacks all the time. And
you
shit.
did.
I used to have literally Tony Soprano panic.
Yeah.
I think that's why that
was
show
at
connected
school.
with me in a weird
Sure,
way. I was like, wow, that's the
I don't mean like your whole life. I mean now you feel to me
because there's
like you've got a good sense
this
of
is already,
not letting it go.
This is already so absurd. Some days I'm not even sure if I'm here like I'm here, but I'm like, I drove here. I'm like, I don't really remember the drive. Wow, I guess I transported here. Like, I don't know. Ben and I talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
Like, there's days where I'm just like, that's my leg, I guess.
Sure.
You know, like, it's also
how intact
feels,
can you be? How like constantly in touch with everything can you be? You're in that time of life.
Everything's so ridiculous.
You're in the middle of your life where everything's busy.
Well, also, my formative years are now with the phone and the, you know, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think everything. You guys were more on your feet. I think your generation stood on their feet and like actually took in life.
We did live in the world more.
75 supposedly world-ending events I'm seeing on my phone a day.
It was more 3D and manageable probably because it was 3D. Even though that can hold you down, there's something also kind of cool though about where we are now, for as kind of unknown and scary as it is. There's so many possibilities, I feel like.
They've created an overwhelmed apathy. Everyone's almost like, I don't know, I guess World War III or money's not meaningful anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, like, hey, like Trump is threatening the head of the Federal Reserve. So I guess the economy going to crash tonight or tomorrow? Who cares? Oh, are we going to war with China? I don't know. Hey, are we under martial law? Or like, hey, is everyone a pedophile? Or
some of it is
your
to create
kid safe
apathy.
in school? Or,
yeah. No, some of it is to create apathy.
You just have to give up. You don't even know what to do.
You can't, like Joe and I actually had a fight last night, and it was kind of based on this. He came in with food, and, you know, he doesn't let anything bother him. I mean, I'm sure he does, but he doesn't. He's a happy-go-lucky guy.
I envy him.
Me too. Well, I'm kind of the opposite, you know, and I can't just not pay any attention. I don't need to like constantly absorb it. I'm not sitting there rolling, you know, wringing my hands or anything. But I just turned on. I had worked all day and I was tired, and I turned on Kim Iverson and catch up, and she had that Professor Jang on, who I like that guy.
Is Kim Iverson good or bad? Like, what is she?
Well,
some people
she's really
interesting. She's ridiculous, and then
she bounces back and forth.
Yeah, that's what everyone does.
I just
now,
like her. You know, I like her a lot. I think she's pretty, and which sounds really pretty. She's nice to look at, but she also seems like she's as searching as anybody else. Like she doesn't know. She doesn't sit there and act like I know and I'm telling you what's what. She's just going whatever. So she had, I don't know if you ever seen the videos of Professor Chang. No. He's a Chinese professor, and he's in China.
The whiteboard?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he uses a whiteboard. Yeah, I like to listen to him. I mean, sometimes it's too dense and too much, but I guess, I don't know what you'd call it. I guess some people would call it a conspiratorial view of history. But if you look into any of this shit, I don't know why that has to be a word, conspiratorial. And also, it's just like...
What does he use, like pattern recognition to...
Yeah, and just facts and things like that. Like when you stop looking at history as this what I think it generally has always been for people is, okay, like it's going to take me a while to explain this, but like in the old days, when I'd watch PBS, there were these certain presidential biographers that would be on, and you take them so seriously, and they're so well spoken and blah 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 blah. Yeah. And then I remember at some point I was like, my God, what a load of bullshit all of this is. I think it's hagiography. It's either hagiography or hagiographies, where, you know, you give this pristine, sweet, and it's not that it's not true, you know. Yeah, not everybody throughout history has just been nothing but a troglodyte. You know, people are complex, and some of the stuff they did is good, but they always spin it like these people they're, you know, the great man theory, you know, the superior beings that are leading us, the unwashed masses, you know, through life, through history. And then at some point, like, I feel like where I'm at, and I wish everybody else would get there too, like, I call bullshit. You know, I don't respect any of these people anymore, and I don't care which side you're on, you all suck, and you're all sucking each other off, and, you know, just like, get off the world stage, you know? Yeah. And so it's this kind of looking at things, including, don't be so mean to her.
I've been mean. I took her to the IKEA ball pit before I got here. She ate a few children.
Oh God, that's your new joke?
That's my new joke.
What's with you? That ridiculous bit you guys did with Joey's neck.
Oh, Joey's neck.
I wake up, and Joe goes, "Oh boy, you're not gonna like this," because I guess for like half a second he maybe bought it.
I guess.
And I said, "What?" And then I heard you guys coming from the bathroom, and and then I turned it on, and I was like, for a sec, John was very believable when he says, "I spent 8 hours with him in the hospital," or something like. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. I like the guy. You're gonna bother my pillow. I'm gonna give you something else. She needs that ball, that big green ball.
Come here, retard.
She's gonna pick it up if you call her bad names. She's got a little like farts coming out of her. Do you smell
she
it?
does.
Yeah,
She does. Yeah.
they're very cute. They're silent, but not too deadly. But come on, Nutball. You want to drink some coffee? Just keep your mouth shut. That's
Okay.
all
What
I
were you
ask.
saying? I'm sorry.
I don't remember, but it doesn't matter. It's just the same old crap. It's just. Oh, I was watching Kim Arbor. I was telling you about her little tiff. And so I said something because she was talking about the new World War III, which honestly I've been hearing that ever since World War II.
Right, I know.
But still, and I guess I said something I probably shouldn't have. And he did the kind of, like, you have to stop watching this stuff, or like you have to stop, life's great sort of thing. And I do get that. Like,
He's right.
He's right, and it's not healthy to, stew in it all day. But I wasn't. I was like, look, I'm so sorry if I actually cared, let me let her out, get information, or I'm not. It pissed me off because he's acting like I'm sitting there like I'm watching soap operas all day,
It's the world. It's what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Like, since when is that stupid, to actually care about? But I agree that you can really lose yourself and, become unhinged pretty easily. But I'm not unhinged. I mean, just, I don't know. It's just,
well, it's
a messy time. It's a messier time.
Yeah, but he's also right, though, because it feels like, throughout the day, hundreds of times, it's like you're looking at the front page of the paper.
I know, Timothy Busfield just got
arrested. In the old days, you would have
apparently a child.
Oh yeah, the actor.
Yeah, I mean, some guy you watch on 30-something.
Right.
It's like
right.
And not that, again, I'm not surprised. I mean, Hollywood's a cesspit and everything, but still, it's just like sometimes I just think what's going on is the veil is falling or has fallen, and yet it clearly hasn't, because people still take sides. People still get worked up, and and honestly, I don't go by the nothing is real, everything's a psyop thing yet, but I don't know what's real. I really feel like unless I'm at an event, if I'm literally there and I can see what's happening with my own eyes, I'll go, oh yeah, that really happened. Other than that, I mean, I can't take it seriously. Mm-hmm. And then I wonder, like, how far back that goes. Like, how many things have been real. These events, like, read Chaos, what's his name? Tom O'Neill book about the Manson. Mm-hmm. People have talked about that for years, that there was, some people are out there, that,
well, didn't we have
that it was CIA connected?
Sure, yeah.
Not surprising. The CIA is a horrible organization.
To inspire what?
Did you just see this thing came out about Erica Kirk? She's in this like documentary on the CIA. No, it's like the CIA documentary where she's like a talking head kind of.
She's handled it all very strangely.
And I think it was maybe Kim Iverson that was talking about it too. Like, seems like she might even be Jewish, and not the Christian that she. I don't know. I don't care. And yet it's also like, again, how do people? I see people that I'll occasionally stumble upon somebody, and I'll go, oh, that interesting POV that I'll take in, And then the next day, this is what's happening a lot now. Like, I seem to get these recommendations and I'll go, okay, I'll check this out. And sometimes it's not even new. Sometimes it's a person that's been around for a really long time and I just never tapped into them for any reason. And I'll kind of agree and I'll go, oh, here's a person whose mind I like. Because I have to go out there to find those people because I don't know anyone other than you that I could talk to in my own life that isn't going to, okay, I have an appointment back on Earth, Bev, or just want me to shut up because they think I literally sound like a crazy person, because anything but that PBS, presidential biographer point of view is unacceptable and can't be real because it's too upsetting.
Yeah.
They
need the, the almost the decorum that Trump ripped away from. They need that veil to you're supposed to at least pretend.
Yeah, that is what happened, I think.
You're supposed to pretend that things are
these people are respectable.
And they're,
And the idea is, but you're only supposed to find one person unacceptable, only Trump. And this is where I've always, and he's pretty onerous, but what I can't ever bear is, why then are you incapable of seeing that it's all like that? Why are you so stuck in your brain that because you're so convinced from this old Democratic Party that you've always belonged to, where it's for the working man? It's been for the working man in 30 years, I mean, it's an utterly absurd notion. And it's like the best term I've heard for those people is the managerial class, professional managerial class, which it is, people with good jobs, or the laptop class that got to have a fun time during COVID.
Right.
They didn't lose their jobs as hairstylists, or they weren't forced to get a vax because they worked as a nurse. They could just be at home and traveling remotely with their magic mouse thing that moves the thing around, makes it, those are the craziest people because they act like, they're doing something good, they're saving humanity, because just don't even get me started on that shit. But I forgot what I was saying, per usual. It's just that where I'm at is that I can't take,
No, she's fine.
Getting a nut. I can't take that.
She's grabbing one of the Brazil nuts, but she calls them something else because she's...
There's only pecans in there, I'll have
She's an old school dog.
I don't even buy those. They're so annoying to open up.
Yeah.
And that was something that people did say. Horrific.
Didn't Grandma say that?
My grandma.
Didn't your grandma say don't pick up things off the ground because an N-word could have touched it?
Well, she meant gum and stuff. Like what stupid child is so dumb to
pick up gum?
Try to pick up gum with a spatula off the. When I was a kid, the underside of any coffee shop you went to was just covered in gum.
Yeah.
Is that still happening?
No, I don't think so.
I guess people got civilized or something.
Yeah, that's actually interesting.
So
Why
disgusting.
Is that happening?
I don't know, probably nobody chews
gum
anymore.
It's the same type of thing where you're like, there's no bugs on the front of my car after a long drive.
That I actually had that recently,
shit?
And I was very excited about it. Because that is true. That, of course, also we're in the desert, so the desert doesn't have a lot of bugs flying around. But I remember road trips as a kid. You had to stop every 2 hours to clean your windshield off. Yeah. But a lot of it's because we're in the West. Yeah. It's not the same as the East. It's much buggier back there.
Well, the Manson stuff. Didn't you play on Spahn Ranch as a kid and shit?
Yeah, because we weren't that far from Box Canyon and Santa Susana Pass. And there was Spahn Ranch, and there was also Corriganville, which was an old movie ranch. There's a lot of that stuff out there in Chatsworth.
Yeah.
And so, I remember, we used to drive, when we first got our licenses. You know the movie, The 50-Foot Woman, don't you?
Yeah, it's a classic.
Her giant wooden hand, like big marionette. Well, of course, I love that movie so much. Mm-hmm. And we'd at night, Devan, it's so shocking. One of us, Dave Jacobs, he had this beat up Ford, big giant Ford, and we'd have no gas and just go around and beg people yell out, "Could you have a quarter?" to get $1. And we could drive around all night. I mean, it was just insane to think about. 35 cents, okay? I mean, I hate to rub it in, but at Terrible Herbst. So we would play out there a lot and drive around and wait for the, it was a kind of a rocky environment where you'd expect the 50-foot woman to appear over a mountain and stuff. And the Spahn Ranch, they had like a tire swing type of thing. Go there, we had no idea. You just go out there to these beat up old places and plays. Yeah.
Didn't people in those days? He was just kind of a shitty, like, open mic musician that was kind of charming to people.
I remember,
and they used to call him Charlie.
Yeah,
there was that lady that used to come over for, like, when I was a kid. That the poet. Wanda,
some weird friend Wanda Coleman, yeah.
Didn't she say she used to know him and call him?
She was a big LA literati person. She was very famous in LA.
Used to call him Charlie. He was just Charlie.
Little
innocent Charlie.
Well, I remember people talking like, I was 15 or something like that. So I was like, I remember, I think I was just getting my license actually, because I still have a vivid memory getting off the 101 freeway around Tampa. And I don't know how this is possible that there's huge things that have happened in my life that I can barely remember, but I can remember weird moments of getting off a freeway on-ramp and having the story on the news. And I think it had just happened. It was still unfolding, and it was so beyond terrifying to me.
Was all of them at once, or was it like week after week? Like, didn't they kill those grocery store owners that actually live pretty close to us?
Right where Meredith lives, on Waverly. I think that they finally tore that mansion
I drove
down.
by it like 10 years ago, the same driveway, but the house.
Yeah, wasn't Brian into Manson stuff?
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty intriguing. Yeah. And then, but this book, it is pretty stunning, the stuff he stumbled on. But again, wasn't unheard of. I had read things before years ago. I never went real deep on it because I really don't like true crime, and because I'm fascinated, like anybody is, by the psychology of shit, like this maniac surgeon that obsessed with his wife for 10 years. I mean, what's up with that? Like, move along, or kill yourself or something. But this kind of thing where, like, that was so weird. Oh, and there used to be this guy. I don't know if he's still around. I can't think of his name. Miles Mathis, I think. I remember this person I used to like listening to sometime, Jay Widener. I think he still has a channel, but he did this whole deep dive on Kubrick. He did Kubrick's Odyssey. He's certain that Kubrick shot the moon thing.
Oh, shot the moon landing.
And
then was killed when he made Eyes Wide Shut.
Well, I don't actually doubt that, according to little things I've heard of what he actually was seeding in there. And if you go...
Well, now with the Epstein
there's so many fascinating... There's this kid... Remind me to go back to this mild math thing. There's this kid, his name's Sean McCann. He's done these amazing deep dives. He's a photographer, so he has this eye. I mean, like every frame of that movie,
it's insane.
Says something that you watch it again, hearing somebody saying this, and you go, oh my God! Like at the end, they're clearly taking their daughter away.
Yeah, he made movies like mathematically, like they almost.
But they go right over your head.
Yeah.
You just go, wow, that was fascinating. I don't know that. I mean, I remember Eyes Wide Shut, and I was like, okay. All that everybody talked about was you're gonna watch Tom and Nicole bang, or something.
Right.
Seriously, like that was like
they're ridiculous when they smoke
right.
weed.
Oh, and there's orgies and this, that, and then the movie itself was so weird and cold and strange and unsettling, and yet why? And back then things were still so obscured, like the idea of satanic cult. I mean, even though everybody also has always known that kind of shit happens, and I don't know, it's like this weird mixed bag. Like, you don't want to know stuff.
Sure.
So you just don't.
Yeah. Don't look behind the curtain.
Yeah. And once you do,
I mean, you
can't go back.
when we were, I think when I was like graduated high school, we would bring up like Epstein to people, and it was just like an Alex Jones conspiracy bullshit thing. If I
Was
brought
he
up,
really on the
if I
in the news?
no, he
then?
wasn't. But if you brought up
Well, I
that there is
remember
a
9/11.
financier named Jeffrey Epstein,
Right.
that is involved in,
Yeah.
in pedophilia with the government and with government agents and very powerful people, people would look at you like you're literally, like
a lot of
like
people
an
still
absolute
will.
nut job.
A lot of people still will.
Yeah,
they're like,
it's
oh, are you buying
mainstream-
that?
It's mainstream news.
Yeah. It's and again, I don't blame people for not, because I've had to shut some stuff off. I have gone down some rabbit holes in the last 20 years, and I have hit walls where I've gone, I don't doubt, and I would never call anybody a liar. There's a lot of it's been scrubbed already anyway. You couldn't find it if you wanted to. The internet used to be a very wide open place. It was the Wild West.
Remember the first day the Pizzagate stuff came out? And
Yeah.
she was not a kook, just some like college student woman, very intelligent woman, had this whole breakdown of everything, and her whole channel was wiped. All the images.
Oh.
It had all the images of like the paintings that like the Podestas
Oh,
had.
those were so eye-opening
all the art
to
they
me.
bought from like Marina Abramovich and insane
Don't you
shit.
want a sculpture of a guy that was murdered by Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah.
Bent over.
That's not
in
weird. The people governing us.
No, it's
That's not
beautiful. It
weird.
was gold.
Bunch of children with ball gags and bright
Yeah,
red asses after, tied up.
red asses.
Yeah, that's not weird.
Not at all. I mean, but you're not supposed to notice it. You're not supposed to notice it. And most people won't, and I understand why. It's hard enough to live in this fucking place, it is. To then, what are you supposed to do? I mean, if you really, which is what they showed, like that Begonia movie, which, was hard to watch. I thought it was going to be a lot more fun than it was. But like, that's what's going to happen to you if you were really a serious person and you go down these rabbit holes. My God, this is happening, and this is happening to children. I'm going to save the, a decent person would do something about this shit, right?
Sure,
but you can't. The machine it works in every way again, and it's probably been going on for thousands of years. All this stuff. It's how power is done. It's how people hold power.
Yeah.
I mean, it all goes back, it's ugly and dark, and it's not just the West, the whole world is run by corruption and sex and blackmail and then, when you think about it, you go, well, how? Of course it is. What do you think? You think everybody's like fucking Frank Capra movie or something? I mean, seriously. I mean, I still hang on to that stuff,
Right.
and it's beautiful, and it's what we should aspire to. But then, the true reality is that and you don't know either about people. You really don't. I mean, there's.
What was the thing you wanted to go back to? The Mathis?
This Miles Mathis, I think that was his name. And Jay Weidner, who I always thought was a bit of a gas bag, frankly, but I enjoyed his series he did about Kubrick, about The Shining in particular, which was he's convinced that Kubrick was approached by NASA, and they allowed him to even use, I think it's front screen projection or something that he used for 2001. And okay, like
they gave him the technology.
an exchange.
Okay, right.
Yeah, we'll let you use the
Interesting, yeah.
technology, and although I don't know why it would matter to the average moviegoer that they would even notice any of that anyway. But and again, space
2001 was groundbreaking, yeah.
Yes, it was. But like, come on, you watch it, and the average person, what the fuck's happening? Really, it was a fascinating movie and great music, blah blah blah. Very groundbreaking, but come on, it's not. None of his movies are particularly accessible emotionally. The Shining's great, but The Shining's great because, again, like a lot of these things have become more amenable to me because I have allowed myself to go to listen to what people, critics. Like I don't immediately take in nobody does. You're not taking in the movie and going, oh, there's this meaning and that meaning, and you have to watch something a lot to see all the various levels that things work at, the subtext. And really great movies that get under your skin have a lot going on, that doesn't always meet the eye. But in some movies, like I think all of Kubrick's movies have this kind of unsettling, kind of weird coldness to them, like you say. It's very, and then I've heard, and read that nothing was an accident. No book sitting there is just like, oh, they forgot to take that down or something. Everything was intentional. Everything's giving you information, whether you're absorbing it or not. It's there, subtextually or consciously. And so as usual, I'm wandering all over the place. But so Jay Wender kept talking about this guy, Miles Mathis, who had a website. It was just these deep dive essays that were just unbelievable to me. They were so, I couldn't rate them, just got every single thing he broke down was everything was fake, and here's why. But there was one, and again, I don't know if he's still out there, and I guess he was a painter and a mathematician or something. I don't know. It could be anybody. It could have been AI for all I know, even though it probably wasn't around yet. But I couldn't believe he was pushing this guy, because everything I would see was like, and I'm all very open to all sorts of wacky information, but it just seemed absurd to me. Just absurd. Like, why are you constantly, this guy's really on to something? But he did write a piece about Manson murders that I did think was very interesting, because he showed all these pictures of various rooms of the house, and everything was really shabby, like really shitty, shabby furniture, and kind of staged looking and whatever. But anything can look staged, really, if you think about it. And any murder scene probably does look staged. It's not even, your brain's not even absorbing that as real. But it made a lot of points about like how this guy's a famous movie director. He's up and coming movie director, and they made money. But see, I was alive then, and I know we call these people rich hippies. They were these rich Hollywood, older than us, but young, hipster, even though they never seemed too hip to me. But like, if watch the movie, the Tarantino movie, and like the ridiculous, Little Lord Fauntleroy outfits that he's wearing.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was like a fun moment where these people seemed like they had everything, and they had a lot more money than me.
Rich bohemians.
But they weren't even really bohemian, but they were kind of play acting this kind of liberated hippie thing. But they weren't hippies, obviously. The fucking Manson families were actually hippies, and horrible, sick people and everything. But like. The whole idea of the hippie thing was much more dropping out and going a different way, but it was more living off the land and patchouli oil and all that kind of stuff. Like being natural was the idea behind hippiedom originally. And or I don't know, flower child. It all looks like nonsense to me now. It just looks like absolute fucking nonsense. But those people, and growing up in LA, those people were always around. Limousine liberals, we called them. The people that they had a lot more money than us, but they didn't have the kind of wealth that celebrities have now. Like the average movie star in the 40s lived in a really nice house, way nicer than yours.
Yeah.
But they didn't have 50 acres and a 20,000 square foot house. People just didn't live like that. And everything was like nicer and better and higher quality, but it wasn't like this over the top piggish kind of place that I feel like we're in now.
Right.
Where people have like gold toilets and crap like that. But of course he's always been nuts that way. But so I was like thinking about this going, yeah, I see his point. Everything does look very shabby. Like somebody brought it in from Goodwill and set it up, like crappy furniture, and the house was kind of shabby. But like it kind of was. These were, what was that? Cielo Drive was like off Benedict Canyon or something. There's a ton of like shacky. I lived in a shack in Laurel Canyon, I mean, it's like, not now probably because it's so expensive now, but people lived in shacky places. They were just renting it. And God knows, I mean, it probably wasn't filled with fabulous furniture because they were playing being hippies, or being young people of their time, and stuff like that. So a lot of this stuff can take you down these roads where you go, if you're young, 'cause I see this a lot with younger people, doing this kind of investigating. I mean, I don't call it research. I'm not researching. I'm just an information whore. I just take in a lot and stumble around, and it's kind of sad because it probably wastes enormous amounts of my time. But it's this kind of idea where I see now a lot of younger people, and I want to like write and go, you got that wrong. No, because I was alive, and so I remember stuff that now people are doing, like all that research people have done about. Well, Dave McGowan did about Laurel Canyon, which in his book is great because he doesn't come out and say this is what happened and I'm convinced. He just, kind of in an amused, writerly tone goes, what are the chances? Like all of these people, and you go, that's kind of interesting,
Yeah.
But then you tell somebody who was born in the 40s about it, and they'll go, well, yeah, of course, because everybody's parents fought World War II.
Right.
But it is more complicated than that because they were all kind of at this level. But you also have a hard time if you've lived in a period of history and you have any memory at all, which I do. I remember shit pretty well, and I can remember how things felt and the flavor of things. Jeez. Woo. We call that fussing. That's the Arabic for farting.
Fuss, yeah.
It just like slowly seeps up to your nose.
No, I know. Yeah.
But anyway, you have a sense of. It kind of pisses me off. I've told you this before. Like I'm watching something. It's supposed to be set in 1962 or 1970, and they use these fucking terms like people use, like bro. Like nobody said that then. Like, God, hire an old person that has a memory and.
Yeah.
Because it takes so much of the authenticity
unless it's like
out.
purposely like anachronistic or whatever.
Yeah, but what is? They're trying.
Yeah.
There was that Bobby Cannavale, I think it was. He did that show. It was supposed to be. He was like a music record producer in the '60s or something,
Vinyl.
starring like Mick Jagger's kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was horrible. It was so overplayed, but it was full of that shit. He's on a plane and makes some joke about like the death camps in World War II, and then he goes, too soon. Like nobody would have said too soon in this hipster.
Too soon, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, too soon.
Was that even a thing?
Or right.
Yeah.
Right.
What's up with that? Or like,
what's up with that? Yeah. I mean, come on. It's so dumb and lame and tired, and I just hate that stuff.
I mean, I meet people nowadays where I'm like, maybe a little younger than me, and I'm like, I don't even know if this person like would believe that like I think he thinks like the 1970s are like made up.
Probably. Well, it feels like it. It was pretty insane when you look back.
There's such a lack of thirst to care about what came before, which is bizarre. Because
I feel that a lot.
When I was coming into my own, I really felt like I wanted to know about all the old pop culture references. Because I didn't want to look like a fucking idiot.
Sure.
I wanted to like know about everything.
But you know stuff nobody your age knows.
Yeah, but I guess it was all a waste. But I really thought.
No, it's not because I pick it up.
I have like no respect for people that don't. They just go like, I wasn't around for that. I'm like, what? What does that even mean?
There's this thing called books.
Yeah. What?
Just watch an old movie, even though obviously movies are also not particularly constantly authentic, but you can still get a pretty big flavor. Any old film noir in the 40s or 50s gives you tons of information.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it's a movie, so it's heightened reality and stuff. So it's not, everything's not exact.
I don't think anyone should be proud of being out of the loop. Like you don't get to decide
I think
that now we don't.
It's fine to be just really dumb and ignorant now. I really do.
Yeah, it is. It's okay.
It's because, and again, I don't know. I don't run into them myself. I don't hang out in places where I'm gonna be around a bunch of, I don't know. I don't even know anybody anymore. I don't even know young people. I run into people and I have nice conversations sometimes, and I feel like, people are giving bad rap to various generations because generally when I haven't had cross paths with anybody for so long, but when I do, I generally feel hopeful because I run into people all the time that I think, seem pretty cool to me. But then you just open up the internet or you watch TV and you go like, God, I'm just a moron, but it's probably always been like that, I would think. The average
I guess. I don't know.
Unwashed they call us the unwashed masses, you know, the bewildered herd. I think it is, we're going through a sad, backwards, it's okay to be ignorant and illiterate now, you know. It's like, what do you need to even, you know, read for? Well, I understand, because video information's taken up a lot of my reading information that I use. But I can't sit for hours and hours on end. I don't know how I read as much as I did. Probably because there was nothing else to do, you know, and I don't see as well anymore when I'm reading either, so I'm not loving it as much as I used to. But I just, you know, I was thinking about that the other day, like, wow, just so much information comes to me visually.
Yeah.
And
it is easier to just go on YouTube and watch a 2-hour breakdown of something than, you know.
Yeah, there's this book came out. I never ended up reading it.
Also, I think we're overwhelmed with
sweet girl
knowledge in a weird way, because
documentaries
are
much
so
information.
I remember like when I was like a kid, like it was like really rare to find like an entertaining, well-made documentary that was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Now there's like 20.
I used to love Frontline.
There's a million of them, and they're all made like in a pretty well done way.
Yeah,
there's a million on Netflix, there's a million on HBO. There's all over. You could look into anyone's life story on like the most intricate level, and it's really well done. And they interview everyone in the family.
Right.
It's almost like everyone's
just somebody's personal documentary.
And that's almost like no one's story is special anymore.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of them made very well.
Everybody's story should be special, though.
Yeah.
All my life I resented. I remember being a kid. And I think it was during the Kennedy administration, and I had to hear about Carolyn Kennedy's birthday party, you know. And I said to my mom, like, why do everybody have to know about her birthday party? What about my birthday? You know, I'm somebody too. You know, like I resented.
Whose birthday party?
Carolyn Kennedy. You know, like, fuck her. Why does
Right.
everybody have to know about these stupid people? What is she doing? She's just some kid that belongs to this person. And my mom trying to explain to me, you know, why it was different. But it's at the earliest age, I just remember feeling like, or every magazine, this is the most beautiful woman in the world. These are the 10 most beautiful people on earth. And all my life was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I totally resented it. How do you know? Have you been all over the earth?
Right.
Have you seen every woman on the earth? Really?
Yeah, that was a ridiculous thing.
It's totally ridiculous. And they still do it.
Yeah.
They don't still have that, like, sexiest man alive
I think so.
crap
somewhere,
still?
yeah. But I think that's for, like,
morons.
Your, like, retarded friends or something. Like, it's no one specific.
None of my friends
No, I'm kidding.
read people.
I don't know, you know, it's for
I
people
don't even see them in the doctor's office anymore. You don't even get that crap at the doctor's office.
No, yeah, like tabloids or,
nobody knows who
People
any of those
magazine.
people are. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a weird, smaller and smaller world, you know, well, as you get older, it's an old common joke. Like you're standing in line, and I mean, who stands in line anymore even? You know, you just go through the self-checkout. But, you know, the joy of standing in line would be to look over at the tabloids, right? And then
you go,
at some
wow,
point you go, who the hell are these people?
Angelina Jolie is she has an alien inside of her. And
no, I miss those.
Brad Pitt is
I miss the week. That was the Weekly
about
World
the
News.
alien that she's raising.
I miss them. They don't have them. They don't have that one anymore. It was so great.
They were great.
The one where
National Enquirer stuff.
Yeah, we bought one when on a road trip with Bob, and it was some alien baby or I can't remember which one it was. They were so great.
They were, at least.
I probably kept some. Yeah, and of course it's like fun because you know it's nonsense. Of course, then probably a lot of people didn't know it was nonsense. But those are all gone.
It was also fun too because it's kind of like their only consequence for being as famous as they are and like having everything that they want is like there's going to be like magazines
stupid information
making up that they're like, you know.
Well, my
aliens.
girlfriend Denise, the one that moved to Ireland, she used to be a journalist at the National Enquirer.
Really?
And it was actually really fun when she was there. She was there in the 80s because she had to reach a certain level on her expense account or she'd get in trouble. So she took me to restaurants all over LA.
Rules.
We would have these amazing meals,
Yeah.
you know, everything, apps, dinner, entree, the dessert, the whole thing. She was getting fat. She had to she literally put on 20 pounds with this job, but she told me all sorts of shit. And when I was working at the mansion at the time, and she put me on
Playboy
payroll.
Mansion. You worked at the Playboy Mansion. And you weren't like sucking people off or anything like that. You were an assistant, right?
Yes.
Like you were above board.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
Just to let the people know.
I wasn't that kind of girl.
Yes. You were.
Yeah. And
you were Hugh Hefner's assistant.
Yeah.
You?
Well, one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I doubt he even barely knew my name. He wasn't the.
Oh really? He didn't know your name?
He was the only people he would interact. But you were, it wasn't quite like don't make eye contact. Mm-hmm. And he would be, but you weren't supposed to get too,
sure,
too friendly or whatever. Just stay in your lane.
Mm-hmm.
But she put me on payroll for the National Enquirer since I worked there. Even like I wasn't giving her information or anything. But just because I had that connection to the job, get $100 a month, for information about, Bill Cosby or whatever, because he was up there all the time at the time, and James Caan and a couple other.
Would he just drug the chateau? Would he just? Pour,
I don't think he needed to.
Would he just pour roofies, liquid roofies?
It was so funny because I remember at the time, like I could have cared less about, Bill Cosby, and he was just always there wearing the little short robe and. It was such a weird job. It was such a very weird job, and I was so
people just banging in like the grotto.
Well, only on they had pig nights. That was different from every year they would have the what is it called, the Adult Film Awards show, like their Academy Awards, and he would invite all those people up, and they'd have these
and they'd stay all night,
big orgies. Yeah. Was
it like an escort thing? Like the women were paid, or like Hugh got paid by the?
I
it was
think,
just like a.
No, most people went up there totally of their own free will.
And the women were okay with because they were getting with a celebrity or something.
Yeah. I mean, one of my jobs was such a dumb job. Let me let her out.
She's okay. She's fine.
Was I have to pee in a minute. Oh, she heard the
fly get killed. Yeah.
That's so funny. I had to keep this thing called the ladies box, and it was a box. There were 3x5 index cards that I would have to. The social secretary from the night before would twirl around. They were all aged out Playboy bunnies or models with their
What'd you guys do with them? Just throw them into a fire pit or something? The aged out Playboy
No, they'd
bunnies?
let them work as social secretaries. And they'd go around, and if he or a guy, one of his inner circle said like, oh, check that one out, she'd go over and like ask him some questions and then take her assessment, and then she'd write these notes about the girl, like cute, blonde, hairy legs, open to, this kind of thing. And I'd have to sit there and all type it up with seriousness, it's like so ridiculous. I just was constantly
like hooker book reports.
Yeah, kind of. But it was all like kind of weirdly innocent. Like I don't think these girls fully understood exactly. I mean, I'm sure
it was almost
some of them
like
did.
trying out to be like a cheerleader or something in a weird way.
Yeah,
right? It wasn't fully overtly sexual.
I don't think anybody was forced to like. But it would be the kind of thing where they would open an invitation to them or something, Mr. Hefner, I'd love to see you in his, quarters or something, or whatever. But you be good. But so it was and my other thing that I had to do, one of my most important things in my job, was to keep his schedule, and I would have to print it out and give it to everybody in the man. I mean, he had hundreds of people working there when I was there. I mean, eventually it just all dwindled down. I don't know how his neighbors stood it. I mean, I think they were constantly fighting him. Yeah. It was a massive operation. 24/7 things happening, constant parties, constant company. He had a whole maintenance staff. He had a zookeeper. He had, my cats, when I was living in Laurel Canyon, were constantly bringing in little animals that I would have to save, bunnies a lot, and I would take them to the mansion, and the little bunny keeper would let them grow up there, with all because they have to have bunnies, of course,
Right, of course.
And
the theme.
And so I would have to type up this dumb schedule. It was a dumb schedule because he was not doing anything particularly important. He was just sort of
what was his
running his dynasty, kind of. He was starting to a little age out. His daughter Christy was sort of taking over. You keep your mouth shut. You hear me? No. And so anyway, all right, stop.
Yoshi.
Where's your ball?
Yoshi.
Go get your ball.
Yosh. Now.
Nice to know you, Yoshinoya.
So yeah, how long did you work there?
Oh, I think it was about 2.5 years. I was constantly trying to leave, but Honestly, all right, you stop that. It was such the most ridiculous, cushy. Saturdays I had to work. I worked alone in the office, just waiting for him to wake up and call me and tell me something. And I used to just pray he wasn't going to call me. Mm-hmm. Occasionally he would call, and one of his girlfriends would decide, I'm sick and tired of never leaving this house. You're taking us to a movie. Because he always had, more than one on his arm or whatever. And he was such a dork. Like, he literally hadn't been out of the house since 1977 or something.
Right.
And so he'd have to take his pajamas off, and he'd wear these ridiculous, like, jeans suits, like bell bottoms. I mean, this was the beginning of punk, okay? Like, punk was happening, and he was just still, wearing like an entire denim suit with the bell bottoms and stuff. And I would have to call a theater. Do you know what it's like to try to call a movie theater back then?
Yes, and be like, I have Hugh Hefner and 10 whores.
Yeah, because they don't answer their phone. You get a message, and then, so I would have to like spend half the day hunting down somebody that I could talk to in an office, and you have to do this for me because he's coming, and he had to be treated a certain way, and he'd be let in the back door, which was completely absurd. Like, oh, he's going to be mobbed, by hordes of fans. It was just like the beginning of the end, kind of. It was AIDS was coming too, and coke was fucking people up really bad, and he had to be really careful. The coke scene was big up there. I used to call the girls that would come in. I said, God, this kind of reminds me of like a Doberman pincher ear treatment, where they take the Dobermans, they do this ridiculous, and then they walk around with their bandages. These, corn-fed girls would come in. Not, they're good-looking girls, they're cute, whatever. But, it wasn't like great beauties walking around or something. They're just girls with big tits and nice bodies and stuff. And some of them were, really whorish, and some of them were really naive. And they'd be there for about a month, and they'd just shrink down from cocaine. Yeah. And then the following month, they'd all be walking around with their boob job bandages because, that's why they were there, was for these. And so it was that always what I saw, it was like this weird factory. But so Saturdays were like, I would come in the morning and just sit there all day. One day, the most exciting day that ever happened to me there, he called and was very, very angry because the butler responsible for his room hadn't left him spare toilet paper. And he was sitting on the toilet talking to me with poop coming out of his ass. And so I had to get on it and call down. He had a huge butler staff.
Yeah.
Mostly gay guys, because it was a lot easier for them to be gay. And
otherwise, the straight guys would just
there would always be stuff happening, and come on, they're young men, in their prime of life.
Well, did any women come to you crying, or was there ever rapey?
Well, his girlfriend, that documentary that came out, Sandra Theodore, she was there when I was there, and she was always very upset. I have such a mixed feeling about all these people. Like, if you watch that documentary, the way they talk, I'm sorry, these people were all way in on everything. They were not like, I was, that's why I couldn't wait to get out of there. But here's the thing. I brought my laundry in on Saturdays. I go down to the laundry room in the basement, do my laundry, watch fucking French movies on TV while I went through pictures. That was my main part of my job, because he had a photographer constantly. Oh, here's, so-and-so celebrity of whatever celebrities of the day. I had to mark and type it up, and because every single wall was covered. He was just a celebrity hound,
Yeah.
And so, could you find and then my other job was to just take a call in case poop was coming out of his ass and yell at a butler to get him some toilet paper. Or I would take calls from people calling because they want to go to movie night. They had a Saturday movie night.
Didn't James Caan know you kind of? He would come a lot?
Well, he sat on me once because he really bothered me because he had a son. His son was about 4. And I would hear him. Our office was really pretty. Yeah.
The actor?
I think it was Scott. He was 4, so I don't know. This was like the early 80s,
Okay.
late 70s, early 80s. He would be down there playing ball with his son. I was like, there's no way this kid's not going to be really fucked up. He's got to be fucked up because it was like, come on, you throw like a girl.
Oh, really?
And yeah, really abusive
Turned
ass.
into like Sonny from
really
The
like
Godfather.
like Sonny Corleone and just stupid and but one time he came in and I was the one that had to give him the okay to let somebody come on or something. And I was waiting to get a call and I was kind of like trying to be stone-faced and I was sitting in my office chair and he kept sitting on me and jumping up and down. I mean, come on, babe, come on, babe, come on.
Hell. Like,
yeah, like
cute,
trying to be all charming and adorable, you know.
That's kind of a neat story.
Some of these people, I mean, these guys were like just dirt bags, okay?
Yeah.
And I get it. I guess if I had a penis and I was alive at that time and I was up on cocaine all the time.
And there was a mansion in the hills.
Who knows? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I might find that charming. I just never, I feel like even if I was a man, I wouldn't like it. It was just like a gross scene. Like it was so
Could people just
dehumanizing.
Like live there? Were people just sleeping there
Bill
for weeks
Cosby
on end?
spent,
did you
a
ever
lot of
meet
time
Bill
there.
Cosby?
Yeah. But,
Wow.
know, again, it was like
Do you remember it? Or
of course. There was this one guy, Max Lerner. He was like this old New York commie journalist that I guess if you look up, probably somebody from the 30s. He was an old guy.
Yeah.
And we just loved it when he would come. Because they all had these little short white terry cloth robes, and he never wore underpants. So he had these like shriveled balls, just like literally like shriveled, purposely. And he'd bend over to the Xerox machine and like just to get us all a view of his pathetic shriveled ass.
What a commie piece of shit.
Exactly. I know. What do you, and like that's the kind of thing like during my commie days, he was probably the kind of person I would have respected, right? But I don't know.
Your commie days, yeah.
Well, I had my days where I fancied myself Emma Goldman, I guess,
it was
or something.
It was counterculture-y, right? Wasn't it? Like,
yeah, but I was pretty lefty.
Yeah.
I wasn't political like I was somebody that was constantly taking to the streets.
Sure.
But, I had a pretty kind of hard-ass take on things and I did think politically, and it was another problem I had being there. Like, that was, that was truly libertine. It was, beyond liberal. It was a libertine, hedonistic place to be. And that wasn't my scene. And plus, I fancied myself a feminist. I saw myself that way, kind of like I'd read a lot of feminist literature. And so to me, it was like I struggled with the job a lot because I felt stunted and unhappy. But I mean, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, go get in line and marry the cook, give you this smile and delicious meal.
Do you have any friends there? You could both look at each other like this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
I made a good friend, Lorna. She came and she was a temp for a little while and she worked in the video department.
What's the mic, I think, if you're touching it? Like the
sorry.
pillow's touching the mic.
And so she had this like temp job in the video department with this Barney and Trudy, I think their names were, two big weirdos. And their whole job was he had everything filmed in his room all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you went in his room and you were doing anything, you're on film.
Yeah,
That's just all there is to it. And cameras were everywhere. So plus they were constantly having to watch various disgusting pornos. And pornos back then were pretty cheesy. Mm-hmm. Not that I watch pornos, and I'm sure they're still cheesy, but the 70s was that time where they were making Misty Beethoven and what was a big Deep Throat and stuff. So it was kind of like a weird time for porn. It was almost becoming mainstream or something.
Yeah.
And so, but they had everything that probably was ever made anywhere in the world, and they'd be watching it. And so Lorna's up there doing some typing job, and all she hears is like, and then woof, woof. It was a woman and a dog video, and they're like just eating it up, like not, okay, we know what that is, let's mark that, just like eating this stuff up, watching it. And I worked for a period of time, I had to set up these archives in the basement. And I so could kick myself for not stealing a whole bunch of stuff, especially this absurd letter that Hefner wrote to Ronald Reagan when he was governor. It was so lame and dumb.
What was he asking him?
Well, I can't. He was like talking at like calling me. We don't dig that, Mr. Governor and stuff like that. And it's like you're such a cornball. Like, no, I've never said dig in my whole life.
We don't
you know?
dig it,
He said,
Mr.
we don't
President.
dig that. And just like he was this like not hip guy who managed to somehow get looked at like he saved Western civilization because he was just like exploiting women left and right, you know? And I'm not saying, I mean, they willingly did it, but it was this very weird period because the way people look at it now, I always looked at it that way.
You
stumbled
upon some pathetic letter he wrote to
and I was like,
Reagan,
God, I want this. I really want to take a lot of things, just the historic stuff. And what else was there? I remember another part of my job was to answer letters of people constantly writing to tell them sob stories about why he should give them a bunch of money. And some of them,
Mr. Hefner.
they're so pathetic. So, you can't believe it. And so sometimes I would compose like fake parody letters back, you know, And that was kind of fun. But like it was just such a weird job, such a dumb. One time though, it was you probably don't even know who Francois Truffaut is, do you?
The filmmaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he called once to get into a movie, and I guess I was so disappointed that he called. Because I was like...
Because you were like, he had respect. He's a Frenchman.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what I'm thinking. Like, if somebody's a true artist, they don't like want to bang models or something, you know?
Especially a French guy.
But I thought he was joking because he was very French. He spoke like this. Hello, hello, and I was like imitating him. It was really embarrassing.
You imitated him back?
Yeah, I was like, oh, hello, oh, bonjour.
Wait, why? Because you just got caught up in it, or?
Yeah, I thought it was a joke.
You thought of the guy fucking with you.
I mean, it was so French. It was so like absurdly French. Then he goes, this is Francois Truffaut, and I'm like, oh, Mr. Truffaut, I'm so sorry. Je suis désolé.
He goes, is there a woman ready for me?
God. Yeah, it was disappointing. It was that one was disappointing.
I mean, you were like a low level, like, you know, like Epstein assistant, you know, like secretary kind of. You kind of saw.
Not really. I never I never felt like people had guns to their heads or anything.
No, for sure.
It was an exploitive environment for sure.
Yeah.
And you could have all judgment in the world about that, but I never saw any underage people. I mean, of course, 18, you know, right? You're pretty stupid when you're 18. Right. And I'm not saying it wasn't, I mean, a lot of people think, oh, you know, they say there's tunnels all under there connecting Jack Nicholson's house. I don't know. Although I remember.
Did you ever see Jack Nicholson there?
No. I have to go to the bathroom. They were working on the basement a lot. Some people have stories of Vietnam.
You have the Playboy Mansion.
Playboy Mansion, among other insane. That was probably my craziest job. I remember I ended up having a car accident. Not my fault at all. I was living in Laurel Canyon. I remember I went to, because I was just starting to get depressed. I was constantly struggling with the job because it was really boring. It wasn't my scene. And I had just come back from that trip to Mexico, you know, with my friend and John Lydon, and we just had this kind of like wonderful 2 weeks of a super adventurous, interesting time.
Johnny Rotten, who's like hated now. He's like,
well, he's a big Trump supporter. Yeah. Well, you know, he can be very gas baggy. Mm-hmm. I think he made.
Remember when we would struggle with money when I was a kid, and I would beg you to just be like, just call Johnny Rotten. No, your
teacher, you guys were supposed to do a report or something about a
Eventually, but I remember when you
were trying to get me to call him so you could interview
him. I remember when you and Dad would like argue about money and stuff or whatever.
Oh,
and
we never did.
I would come in the rooms and I would be like, Mom, just call Johnny Rotten.
Oh, right.
Because I did compute with me. I was like, wait, you toured with the Sex Pistols? I'm like,
I didn't tour with the Sex Pistols.
I just assumed when I was a kid, if you knew anyone famous, like I was like, why don't they just give you money? Yeah. I don't get it.
Well, like,
why are we ever having a problem?
If
you know anyone famous, they should give you money.
Well, he was very generous, but no, I was in this really interesting headspace when I got that job. I needed a job because I remember him even saying, like, why do you feel like you have to go get a job? Well, because I'm not you. You know, I'm not. Because he wasn't the fame he has now. I mean, he's now, he's kind of considered legendary or whatever, or he was for a while. And I think he kind of blew some of that goodwill that people had for him.
Like Pill and all that stuff.
Well, I think he blew it in the last few years because because of the Trump stuff, which started out okay because I liked that point of view too, because that was kind of punk. But then as more, it's also, again, like, why are you taking a side?
Yes,
why are you doing
it
that
also
choice?
became kind of indefensible. It's like,
well, and then he also got, I've seen him in some interviews. I saw him with, I think it was Henry Rollins and some other guy, some rock guy, but rock, punk, whatever. And he doesn't hardly let anybody get a word. It's like some of that went to his head, that like, I'm the most famous punk on earth kind of thing. And all of these things are like small worlds, really, and you get crazy if you think that, everybody on the planet, I don't know, whatever, it's getting off the subject. But
so you got in this accident?
So I came out of that trip and that time, which was so fun, and was sort of allowed to believe that we were going to be working with him, and that didn't happen. A lot of it was Denise's fault because she was doing media for him, and she was getting a little too, not big for her britches, but she was seeing money signs and kind of coming up with ideas that were not, nobody else liked it. The group didn't like it, the pill. And so she kind of got cut out. And so I was needing a job because I was, it's hard to believe though. I think I was paying $165 a month for that house in Laurel Canyon.
Just afraid of a carrot.
It's just a carrot. And, but because all my life I was somebody that didn't borrow money and I didn't live on credit and I wasn't going to live off other people or whatever. I've always been taking care of myself. And so I ended up, I joined this, not Hollywood, but showbiz. It was a very particular temp agency that only dealt with showbiz. And so I immediately got a job at Playboy, a temp job. And the woman was the admin assistant just below the guy they just hired as CEO, Don Parker, this guy who did the most horrific office I've ever seen. It was, talk about dead tech, that Al Pacino line in Heat. Is it Heat?
I don't know.
Where he calls their house dead tech. And this place was absolute dead tech. And his assistant, Marjorie, was lovely. And she really liked me. And she said, oh, my God, would you please come over to the mansion? You would fit in so perfectly. You're great, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, okay. And I did. And then immediately were wanting to hire me on. And I was like really torn because I was supposed to be doing this other stuff, with Denise and Leiden. But I needed a job. So I took it. And from the very start, it was like, just couldn't. I saw it as like an a pop culture anthropology kind of thing, like a look at it that way, and it is now. Looking back on it, I'm really glad I had the job because it was a really weird time in history and stuff. But at the time, it just felt like a kind of weird.
Kind of weird. Yeah, you didn't realize
this isn't my place, and I should have kept better notes, and I should, Christine McKenna, who's a terrific journalist. I met her because I had all this film that I took on our trip, and she just really admired John Lydon, and so she came over to my house with Denise one night to see my movies, that little movie that's half burned up now, and we were talking, and I was telling her about my job, and she was begging me to do an interview. There was this magazine called Wet Magazine back in the 80s. It was a really good magazine, kind of alternative scene and stuff. And so I was like, well, I felt really funny about it because I knew that he had two people on staff that did nothing, but they would go through the penny saver to see if there was, every written word that came up about him.
He wanted to see every single thing about him.
Clipped, kept in a library. It was just unbelievable. Wow. And if you spoke to anybody and told any like little tales out of school, even anonymously, you can get in a lot of trouble. And like, what the worst is going to happen? I'm going to lose my job. I didn't really care, but it also felt really shitty to me. Like, I'm going to take somebody's paycheck and then I'm going to go. And so they were just like so upset that I wasn't willing to do this interview. But then I also wondered, like, who gave a shit about that stuff at the time, even, honestly. But because again, it would have just been, ooh, let's catch him out being an asshole to women. Well, is this a surprise? Is this something like that is unknown or something,
Right.
But so, but he was getting a lot of respect that he didn't deserve. So I'd been there about a year, maybe a year and a half, and I was starting to just get depressed. I was like, I feel like I'm not living like I should, and I'm just spinning my wheels and stuff. And I was driving home. I'd gone to Rhino Records on Westwood Boulevard and bought a bunch of Gregory Isaacs records and was coming home. It was dark, and I was going up Laurel Canyon from here's, Sunset, and then here's Hollywood Boulevard. And there's this big, giant, huge left turn that people do coming down Laurel Canyon Boulevard to Hollywood Boulevard. But I was in the middle of the intersection already. And this girl, she was like a 16-year-old Korean girl who wasn't supposed to be driving. Came
because she was Korean or because she was 16?
No. Actually, it was kind of classic because she kept saying to me, I'm so sorry, and her parents kept trying to pretend that they were driving. And
oh, really?
It was terrible. I won't say what this cop said, but it was
really?
It was rude about certain kind of drivers. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, so she just wiped me out. My car was totaled, and I practically went through the windshield, because who wore a seatbelt back then? I had this little Volkswagen Fastback that I loved. And it was funny, too, because a friend of mine lived right on the corner there where I got hit and came out and, Anyway, so I was out of commission for about 2 months, and they treated me so well. Judy, who was a wonderful woman, Judy Bradford Bing, she was their first black bunny in Chicago. She was like a historic bunny. She was great. I wish I could find her now. She was great to me, and I was just too stupid to like embrace the friendship the way I should have. But I was just lost. I was kind of lost, And so she insisted, like, I had to schedule an appointment. I have to go out of the hospital. I scheduled an appointment with a doctor. And she insisted I go to Hef's doctor, Saginaw, who there's tons written about him. He was, God, a terrible guy. I mean, he wasn't a terrible guy, just like a really classic example of somebody getting just like living the Hollywood good life thing. Just drugs and sex.
Only knew how to handle gonorrhea.
Yeah, his daughter wrote a book. Jennifer Saginaw, and I think she's in that documentary. She wrote a book about her time there, and literally growing up under this kind of umbrella of just like sex-soaked, and not nice sex either, just like smelly baby oil orgy sex, like just fluid everywhere. I don't even get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Like, ugh. Yeah. There's nothing charming about it. But anyway, so they just like had cars pick me up, take me to the doctor. So like for this whole time, and I was getting more scared. Like I felt like I was just being like eaten up by it, I had to get a answering machine because I was getting so many calls. Again, this sounds like a ridiculous thing, like, oh, that's a problem, like people liked you and wanted to help you and stuff, but for me it was like I knew underneath the accident it had not been my fault. I had done nothing to have cause it, but I knew that it was like the universe was taking me out. They're like, wake up, you're not doing what you should be doing. Not that I then went off and did anything. It wasn't like I then wrote the Great American Novel or something, but just this, there's things in your life that you're doing where you just can feel yourself getting sucked in. Like somebody that works for the phone company for 40 years because they have a great pension waiting. So I can just get through this next 2 years. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do either, you know. But if you're desperately unhappy and you don't feel like you're surrounded by the kind of people you want to be surrounded, but the people that worked there were all great, you know. They were for the most part wonderful, except for Mary O'Connor. She was like, and again, if you watch that stupid, I never watched it, but the Girls Next Door was it, where you had these two bimbo girlfriends, who now of course claim, you know, that it was a horrible experience all the time and whatever, and they're neurodivergent or something, so they didn't know.
Well, I knew they were retarded, but
anyways, Mary was on that show, and I just remember just cracking up. There was a couple people I wished I'd stayed in touch with that I really liked a lot, genuinely. But again, it was this kind of a feeling of this whole scene where I just thought, no, I got to get away from this. It's also like alcohol-soaked and drug-soaked, and you know, just that.
Was it affecting your habits? Were you drinking more?
No. But I think I was on the brink. I was incipiently going to have a problem because I was so unhappy that sometimes at night I'd watch. I just remember I went through this period where I watched Brideshead Revisited, which was a fantastic PBS, you know, one of those English aristocrat shows, but it was really good. And I would just drink brandy, and I wasn't like shooting back bottles or anything, but I would stay up really late. And then I'd wake up, and I'm, you know, 25 years old, and I could hardly walk up the hill, this little tiny hill. We'd have to park at Holmby Park and then walk up this little hill to go through the back gate. And I'd be like, because I was smoking at the time too. Just like, I have more breath now probably. You know, it was just like, and I knew it was happening. I was just unhappy.
I love that the running theme in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Everyone's just coughing up a lung the whole time.
I don't remember Brad Pitt smoking in that. Did he smoke?
I think so. I think everyone did. I think he did.
I rewatched that, and I have to say it's sad that it's such a weird mixed bag because it's so fun and enjoyable, especially if you were alive at the time.
You didn't like the ending, right? You didn't like the violence?
Yeah, it was just the cartoon thing and the flamethrower and stuff. You know, I don't know. But I love that one of the greatest things I've ever seen. I remember it the first time feeling longer. But the scene where he goes from Hollywood to fucking Panorama City with the radio going the whole time, no traffic, it was like that.
I really think the disconnect with a lot of people in the movie is like you have to be an Angelino kind of like, even though I wasn't.
Well, and also being alive at the time where you could theoretically get on the freeway and just
fly,
you know. And
not as much.
And KHJ's playing the whole time, you know, one song after another. Where do you hear that now? You don't get any. There's no great top 40 station anywhere, you know. Putting out the hits.
Yeah, no.
You know, I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of things back then that I don't understand. You know, the other person that captures the era that I think, you know, really well, very differently, but P.T. Anderson, like especially with Licorice Pizza, really. And also Magnolia, even though it wasn't set in the 70s, I don't know how he just captures this very subtle valley vibe.
Yeah.
And Licorice Pizza was again, I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, this sucks, you know, this is boring.
Yeah, I thought I've only seen it once and I was really disappointed.
Oh, I liked it a lot. I watched it a few more times.
He wanted to make it though. You know, at least he knows the valley and.
Well, and also the thing is, you know, like. He's this.
She's chewing.
Is that just a carrot?
Yeah, it's the other thing.
Oh, the other thing. It's this. It's interesting to me how somebody could capture an era they didn't live in. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know how old he is, so he may have a little child memories, because he just managed to capture this, this just Southern California in the '60s was just a completely different place, you know, than it is now. Even though, you know, there's always going to be certain things about LA that. I mean, I hope El Coyote's still open. You know, all these places are closing.
El Coyote's still open and it still serves the worst food on earth.
Oh, and the worst margaritas. They'll kill you.
A tostada.
You'll sleep with anybody after 3 of those margaritas.
Oh, yeah, or get killed
tostadas with peas.
Yeah.
And little
tostadas with peas
beets.
and Thousand Island dressing.
I know.
Thousand Island dressing at a Mexican restaurant.
I know.
On your tostada.
I can't believe they still do that. It just used to crack me up.
It's a great place. It's really cool. You can go to a place and, you know, sit where where a bunch of people sat right before they got murdered that night in their home by the most famous cult.
That is where they were, huh?
Yeah, they went to El Coyote right before.
Do they don't have a famous table, do they?
I would wonder about that.
Yeah,
Can you ask what table?
Probably.
Do you guys know? Do you guys know where they sat?
They probably do. Well, you know, like Tam O'Shanter has the Walt Disney table, the Walt Disney booth.
Right.
But he didn't end up dying in a horrific, probably the worst murder rampage of the. But that is interesting, that whole CIA connection.
Yeah, the Laurel Canyon.
Yeah,
CIA thing,
well, no, not necessarily Laurel Canyon, but
the Mansons being
the
CIA.
Mansons, yeah, and
to do what? Though?
Him.
What would him?
Not CIA. Like they're not in there having meetings, you know,
like an informant or something.
He was definitely constantly on that, not payroll, but that cycle of like something was saving him, getting him out of jail all the time.
Right.
And he was one of those people that wanted to be in jail. You know, that's my memory, was that he was, a lot of people that grow up in that kind of system can't know anything else. They can't ever succeed on the outside. But yeah, there's definitely people pulling strings.
For sure.
In that. I'm shocked that is that woman still, Susan Atkins, is she still, like, doesn't she come up for parole like every year or something?
Yeah, I think so. He died, right, Charles Manson?
Yeah, not that long ago though, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But even that, it's like you go.
Stop.
I don't know. I was watching.
Yosh, no, come here.
I was watching this. Stop.
Come here.
Calm down. Do you think she's getting hungry?
Maybe.
Do you ever? This guy has got it's called Dearly Departed. He's an LA tour guide. Like he does all the death tour things, you know, like. That's been going. I wish I'd thought of that years ago. You know, so great. But there's some of them that are really creepy. Like, have you ever gone to the Hollywood Death Museum?
No, I don't want to.
Oh, Tom took me there. It was horrible.
Yeah.
I said, this is not at all. It's not this interesting, kitschy. You know, not that murder should be kitschy.
No, like glorified.
It was
like
horrifying.
Museum of Death shit. Yeah.
It was like a worshiping serial killers
and
stuff.
That's what my friends have said.
Yeah, I was really put off by it. I can't believe they're operating. But anyway, he did this thing recently that I stumbled on about. There's this guy that bought the house. It's funny. Bought the house down the road, just a few 100 feet, you know, from the Cielo Drive house, which has been torn down. But he claims all these ghostly activity and stuff like that, and you know, and yeah, I don't doubt it. But,
yeah.
But yeah,
there's a really
weird story.
There's like a romantically evil energy in LA. From dating back to like the Black Dahlia.
There really is, and earlier than that. I mean, like what happened to Fatty Arbuckle, you know, all that stuff. Like, and I wonder about that. I think he was kind of
even with how
he was set up.
Yeah.
Or not set up, but it was like it was a party gone out of control. They tried to make it sound like he shoved a Coke bottle up her and stuff, and apparently she'd had an abortion like just a few days earlier or something, you know, and she died from. Who has an abortion and then goes around to a sex party, you know? I mean, people think, like, all my life I thought everybody in the 20s.
That's woman shaming, Mom.
Everybody in the.
You're
it's
shaming.
just true. That's what I remember.
God forbid it's a.
No, it's like I look at that stuff because my whole life I was like pissed that I wasn't born in like 1899 or 1900. I would have loved to have been the same age as the decade. I mean, as the century. Like I would have loved to be 20 in the 20s, you know, and whatever.
Right.
But it's all about clothes mostly.
Yeah.
You know, because then when you look any deep into any of this stuff, somehow you think everybody was just like goody two shoes or something.
No, everyone was
and
really
nobody was
fucked up.
horrible.
Everybody was horribly fucked up. All right, we should wrap it up. I love you.
I love you too. So much.
I love you.
You're my boy.
Really